This video is made for adult collectors because they made the Mechanic Man a ninja, and I like that.
I'm honestly considering changing up the color of the table at some point because filming white figures on here is always so difficult to get the colors like right because he's disappearing right here when I remove my hand. I've already stepped the camera down a little bit, but this is like, let's just get smokescreen in here too. They kind of just vanish a little bit and I really hate that. I think I need to change this table.
This guy was a huge departure from the traditional Wheeljack, God damn it. I've already started this horribly wrong. Let's do that again. This guy was a huge departure from the traditional Wheeljack, like the Armada one. Yes, here he is, Armada Wheeljack ×2, but I really did enjoy what they did with Prime Wheeljack. He was still the inventor guy, they did touch on that, but they did more with him. They made him brash and reckless, and yet he still cares deeply for his close comrades. He opens up to Ultra Magnus and is just a badass. Like the scene where he fights himself was so cool. I really wish they would use makeshift more in other places. But the figure is also really nice. It's my favorite Wheeljack design. I even own it in Jolly Rancher flavor. Even though this isn't a bag of Jolly Ranchers, we don't actually have a bag of Jolly Ranchers. All we have are Sour Patch Kids. I do want to mold collect this guy. Shame though that the rest of them are either rare as hell or entirely clear plastic. I love the proportions on this guy with the longer arms and the bulky shoulders and the slightly smaller lower body. Like he stances up quite well, which helps that brash warrior persona. And I also dig the colors. It's a very clean white with bits of gray, black, red, and green sprinkled just enough throughout to keep him from looking boring like the 86 one. Speaking of colors though, look at this fucker. This guy is so colorful. I absolutely adore this deco so much. I wish they made Dead End look more like this more often. The greens, the yellows, the oranges, and then this dark brownish gray all work so well. And he's got mouth light piping, which is kind of insane. I like folding Wheeljack's shoulders down a little bit and leaving Dead Ends up because that differentiates them a bit from each other. The one thing that I really don't like about Wheeljack is the lack of a bicep swivel. There is space for one there, but they just didn't put it there. If you leave the shoulders in the correct position, there is a joint in there that kind of simulates a bicep swivel, but it is very limited. I think the APC Toys one actually puts a swivel on there, but I know that figure is getting kind of expensive. I like the Wheeljack head sculpt, a more sleek and round interpretation of the traditional Jackie head, though I wish there was also an unmasked variant because I really like the way that that looks. Maybe if the Arms Micron one came with an unmasked head. Oh shit, I forgot there's an Arms Micron one too. He does come with his swords, and they do store in the correct spots on his back, though the handles are a wee bit oversized, but I think that's more to do with the alt mode integration. But he can pose pretty well with them, spouting some very modern joints, but also then lacking other motion we get in modern figures like a waist and biceps. Honestly, the Earthrise one has more articulation than this, but it still doesn't look as dynamic because even though this one's limited, the way it's shaped makes it feel that much better when you like get him into an actual cool action pose. I don't have Earthrise Wheeljack at the moment though, so you're just getting a comparison with Sunstreaker. The head is on a ball joint where the ball goes into the torso, but you get some very nice tilt and some up and down. The shoulders are weird. They're on ball joints and hinges, so they can go wherever you want, but that depends on the orientation. If you leave them normal, they don't go out very far, but if you collapse them in, they do go in and out a little bit more, but you lose that fake bicep swivel. He does have double elbows, so the arms can go all the way, and the wrists are on ball joints and hinges. There's so much motion in the hands. There is no waist joint because of how all this crap folds up in here. The hips are on ball joints, which surprisingly aren't loose. Most Prime figures I've had with hip ball joints, they just collapse all the time. He does have thigh swivels, though the sculpt does limit them slightly. The knees bend just below 90 degrees, and the ankles can go back, and they can tilt. Yes, ankle tilt on a Prime figure. And Dead End is obviously the same, but more creepy, crazy, and looking like he's pushing out a big breakfast. I really like these two a lot. I am curious, given how Smokescreen came out, how they would do this in a modern day like setting, but I think this is one of the few figures that doesn't really need a modern update outside of some articulation tweaks. The transformation is pretty unique in how it gets all the limbs into place. They end up where you would expect on a Wheeljack, but getting them there is extremely satisfying.
So yeah, like I said, the limbs end up in the same places as they would any traditional Wheeljack, but how they get there is so interesting with weird flips and slides and the way that the hands fold themselves around in the chest. Like, it's so interesting how they pulled this off. They really locked in with this guy and like the RID Viacon, and then all the other Prime RID figures I think are kind of but like they really strapped in for this. So we're gonna take the swords out because they don't store there. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take these bits and you're gonna fold them in, and they're gonna tab together. Really tiny tabs, but they do stick together and they don't come apart. Then you want to take the arms. You're going to fold the hands in, pull them down, and then rotate this 180 degrees to bring out the windshield. That's kind of cool. This one's stuck. There we go. But that's kind of cool. I like how it hides away. It doesn't really hide it away super well. You can just see it hanging off there, but it is pretty neat, and it kind of, you know, even though this is fake, it kind of helps with the shaping of this, because if this was real, it would be huge. Then you take the chest section here and you bring it up. You want to push the head in to the body while folding this up and over. Just make sure the head's fully folded away. Get that into place. Then you want to slide this section forward on a double hinge, and then this will come up and just sort of not clip, but hug this section, and then you fold the head back in. On dead end, you don't have to do the whole folding the head down because it doesn't have this crest. I find this crest gets in the way. On him, you can just leave it because the head's so round. But once you have that done, we're going to work on the legs. So you fold these feet down. Then you want to, this is the cool part, pull this to the side and then shift it down and then rotate this 180 degrees and fold it forward. That's how they do the front shaping, because this doesn't become a foot like the original Wheeljack. I think that's so fun to do. It's so satisfying just to click all that into place. Then you tab that together and then fold the whole toy in half while getting the arms out of the way so that the crotch can fit into its spot. And you get that pegged together like that. Then you bring the arms around. We'll leave them in their traditional mode for a second. So once you have those around, then you want to take them and collapse them in to form the side of the car, and then just accordion it back and inwards while having the hands at this angle so that they fit into the car. If they're not at that angle, they're not going to slide in properly. See, like this one, it just moved. So once you have that together, you just squeeze it. Then you take the swords and you peg them in underneath like that. And there he is. I love doing the legs, and I love doing the like torso section. It's so much fun.
I am so surprised at how friggin' well the new smokescreen just fits with this Wheeljack. That's just a testament to how nice this smokescreen is. But anyways, Wheeljack and the orange idiot. This is such a sleek and shapeful car mode. I love how this turned out. The colors in this mode might be a tad bit on the bland side with only some sprinklings here and there, but the shaping is what keeps it from looking drab. I love the swooping lines and the elegant curves along the body of the vehicle, flaring out at the wheel arches and getting that like modern Honda Civic Type R looking back end. With the enormous swooping windshield and the nice silver painted rims, it looks great and all, but then you get a shit ton of paint on it and damn, this dead end looks even better to me. All of these loud colors with not a care in the world for the car's resale value. It's so friggin' epic to look at. The swords store very nicely underneath, but you can peg them onto the front of the car if you want to. And if you want it to look like a car Jeremy Clarkson would have designed for some shit Top Gear challenge. It's a very solid alt mode, compact, robust. The plastic feels nice for a prime toy. It's just all enclosed very well. I thoroughly enjoyed this mold a lot. I don't know if they could top it honestly with a new one. My only real gripes are some of the articulation. But like, he still looks good and you can still make him look good. I'd recommend one if you can get it for a decent price, because even the knockoff of this thing is kind of expensive. But it's a very fun Wheeljack design and character and toy. I like it. But that's my look at Prime RID Wheeljack. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.